Okay, I love that story with the buckets and pipelines. It's just kind of a perfect visual of what we're doing. And so as you go, you will see that the income slowly starts to grow over time, and that just allows for freedom and flexibility. And so residual income is something that I truly didn't understand until I saw it happening in my own world. Just a quick little story here before I jump into a little more about the compensation plan. But for me, so one thing that I love about the residual income piece of it is that it allows for you to kind of ebb and flow with what's happening in your life, to kind of scale down and then ramp back up and still get a paycheck. And so an example of this, so we have our daughter who's not quite 2, Olivia. And so I had been building doTERRA for almost 2 years, for I guess like a year and a half, when I went on maternity leave with her from my high school teaching job. And so in that time, during the couple weeks before she was born and the weeks after, I literally did nothing for my doTERRA business. I had been teaching classes, I'd been enrolling people, supporting people, all of that, but I wanted to really focus on preparing to have a baby and then obviously give her my full attention for those couple weeks afterwards. And so I was a little nervous. I was like, well, I don't know. At that point, we started paying some bills with my doTERRA income, and so we were relying on that just a bit. However, so after taking like a good break, I got my first paycheck where I really hadn't done much, and my paycheck was about the same as it had been when I was working really, really hard with my doTERRA business. And I was blown away. I actually remember crying when I looked at how much it was, because I was like, oh my word. For the first time, I could see the residual income starting to work. And it wasn't a ton of money. It wasn't, but it was important for our family. It was paying a good number of bills that otherwise we really have had to readjust where that money was going to come from. But the power of residual income meant I could focus on my family, and the paycheck was still going to come in from the efforts I had put in advance. And so I love that buckets and pipeline thing just really kind of nails that home. So anyway, I just want to take a minute here, and I'm going to talk about the compensation plan. And so I am looking at something that we call the Build Guide. And I know this isn't a great way to see it, but I just want to hold this up because you have a link to this in the email that you got. With all the information. And so you can look at this later in more detail, but this kind of lays out, I'm just going to hold it there for just a second and then put it down. But this lays out what is possible with doTERRA. And so it gives you the averages for the various levels of income at the various ranks and how long it takes to build that level with doTERRA. And so this is, our compensation plan is complex, but here's what you need to know. 1, it's very generous, and 2, it rewards us in a lot of different ways. And so it really works. It's a lot different than other network marketing company compensation plans. So if you have experience in network marketing, you're going to look at this and you're going to see a difference right away. Many people have looked, kind of really dug into the nuts and bolts of it and been incredibly impressed. And I've seen it in my own life, or my uplines have seen it in their life, that the power of the compensation plan really does make it possible for doTERRA to be a viable source of income for you over the long term. So anyway, a couple things I want to focus on. Number 1, we're talking like a 5 to 10 year build. And so I am not ever going to tell you that doing doTERRA is a get rich quick scheme. It's not. It is hard, it is slow, it takes consistent effort. And that 5 to 10 year build entirely depends on your effort and consistency. The normal business rules absolutely apply to this. This is a business, and so that's something that you want to keep in mind. It's a business like any other. It just has an incredibly low barrier of entry, which makes it possible for anybody to jump in and be successful starting this business. And so I love that. The other thing that you need to know is that we get paid 4 ways. The first way that we get paid is for getting people started, helping them to get their initial kit, their initial set of oils, and so we get paid a percentage off of that. The second way we get paid is by supporting those people and teaching them about the doTERRA lifestyle and how to use their products, how to use their oils, how to shift towards natural things. The education piece is important. And so we've got lots of resources doing that education. So really, as you're getting started, you just need to connect people back into those places where they can learn and then support them as they go. But you get compensated for that. The next thing is we get a compensation for structuring our business well and sticking with doTERRA for the long haul. And so that's another piece of it. And then the last way we get paid is achieving ranks as we grow our business. And so we get paid 4 different ways. And those paychecks come, some of them come weekly and some of them come monthly. And so I'll dig into the details more when we do a business overview one-on-one, but I just want to kind of give the bird's eye view of the compensation plan. And like I said, you can dig into that a little bit more on the in the build guide, which you have a link to. So be sure to do that a little bit later, or as we're asking questions, and feel free to ask questions when we jump in the Zoom room together. Next up, you're going to see this video from a guy named Jared Wenger. He's a presidential, maybe double diamond now. I'm not sure what he is. He's like a high rank. And so he's been with doTERRA for a super long time, maybe 8 or 9 years. And he talks a lot about just the process, how it goes, how doTERRA has kind of blessed his family, and the way that the compensation plan just compounds and becomes more and more beneficial and rolls along with that residual income piece. So enjoy the video. See ya.